One of my friends brought up a video that I made a long time ago. Ronnie Rose, the world famous Ronnie Rose. I used to make, not used to, occasionally back in the old days, I would make a video covering some of the basics of pool. Yeah, like stance, stroke, alignment, grip, bridge, stuff like that. And you might be saying right now, well, is stroke really a basic? And yeah, it is a basic of pool. It's just a basic that you can't just learn and do. It has to be developed. And so developing your stroke, it doesn't require, but it's very dependent on all your other basics being right. So you can have a basic, fundamental of pool being off or not exactly correct, and still develop a straight stroke. Some players have managed to do that, but it's a hard way to go. The easiest and best way to develop a pool game is to make sure all your basics are right. So the guys like Keith McCready, Willie Hoppy, and Ralph Greenleaf, some of their basics were off, but they still managed to develop a straight stroke and become winning players. But it's a rare thing. These guys are the exception to the rule, and it makes people wonder how many players didn't get that far because their basics were off. I can name 3 players whose basics in pool were, literally terrible, but they did it. 3 out of millions and millions and millions of players. So let's say there's 7 basics, including your grip and your stance and your bridge and whatever. Let's just say there's 7. I don't know how many there are. They all work together. So if one of those is off or wrong, it's going to affect everything else that you do, and particularly your stroke. And the problem is players will be off in one of their basics and not be conscious of it, just not be aware of it. And so because one of their basics is off, they're missing balls. So if you're not aware of which one of your basics isn't right, then you're going to look for reasons on why you're missing balls. So you're going to change another basic to fix the missed shot. So now your grip is off because your alignment is off. So now it just becomes a train wreck of things broken in an attempt to make more balls. And there's companies who have taken advantage of this, and they market all kinds of magic cures for pool games. And the buyers of these things aren't aware of what's really wrong with their pool game. So they say, well, it's because I don't have the magic glove, or it's because I'm not pivoting, or it's because I don't have the $70 chalk, or the $50 tip, or the low deflection shaft. So they're constantly looking for why they're playing badly, never realizing that one of their basics is off. And pool video makers, some of them have taken advantage of this too, and either aren't aware of it either and think they're right when they're totally wrong, or they're just mooching off of people that are struggling with their pool game and just trying to get views on YouTube. So the issue that Ronnie mentions is probably the most common thing I see out there with both good players who could be great and bad players who just miss almost every ball. But for some reason, nobody talks about it. Nobody mentions it. Nobody brings it to their attention. And I see it every day, or every time I'm out in the pool rooms or bars or at the place I practice it. I see it all the damn time. And I want to go up and help these people, but I'll never get in somebody's game and just do that. If somebody asks for my help, I'll be happy to take a look at their game and try to help them. So it is just so common, and with it comes, you're just wasting your time. Until you fix this, your game is going to be flawed and you're not going to be a good player until I want to go up to them and help them. But there's millions of them. I mean, I could spend the rest of my life walking up to players and saying, fix this and you'll be better. But you can't do that, so you just concede to it, and to me it's a tragedy because there are so many players that do it, and every time I say it, I know that this guy's pretty much just wasting his time, because you can't get to the higher levels while you're doing this. And what they're doing is this. And I don't want to get into the optical physics of eyesight and all that crap. We can get real complicated here. But if your head's tilted and your eyes are not level with the table surface, it is going to be impossible to get an accurate aim on both the cue ball and the object ball. So again, what will happen to these players is they'll obviously see that they're missing the ball, so something is wrong. And then they'll start overspinning balls in order to deflect the cue ball and actually aim to miss the object ball, to miss the shot, in order to compensate for the fact that their head is tilted. So many pool players do this, but yet there's instructor after instructor who never even mentions it, which is kind of disturbing. And it doesn't have to be spinning balls. It can be adjusting your stance to miss. It can be adjusting your grip to miss. It can be slingshotting balls. It can be all kinds of crazy things to purposely throw their game off, to not trust their eyesight, not knowing that their eyesight has a terrible fundamental. And they'll do everything in an attempt to miss the ball in order to make the ball, which is just insanely moronic. You aim the ball where you need to aim it, and you stroke through, and that's the most common thing right there, is just a bad stroke, right? So your stroke is bad, but you don't know it's bad. So you adjust the back of your hand in order to throw the aim off in order to make the ball. And that is impossible to be a consistent player purposely missing balls, or purposely deflecting balls, or purposely spinning object balls in your bag. When one bad basic is compensating for another bad basic, it is impossible to be a consistent pool player. And so if you're going to do that, if you're going to purposely deflect balls in order to make the object ball, then you're going to have to hit the cue ball at the same exact speed on every single shot, and that's going to throw your position off. And it just becomes this huge, terrible train wreck when all they ever had to do was stop doing this and start getting their eyes level with the playing surface. It's a huge fundamental that, again, for some reason, no one even mentions. So I'm here to fill that void and mention it. Get your head, get your eyes level, parallel with the table. The table is, a flat surface. Get your eyes parallel to that flat surface. And even good players do this, and the most common time they'll do it is when, let's say there's balls in the way, but they have to bridge like this. You know, they have to get around so that they're at this awkward diagonal body position. So they have to reach over here and put their bridge down and get their bridge arm up and out of the way of object balls that are in the way. But they'll stay down like this. And their head's crooked without them ever knowing they're crooked when they need to get their head up like that to shoot that ball. And the issue with that is it seems unnatural. It seems more natural to keep the head tilted like that, just because it's a weird body position. So you have to get down on the ball like that, with your eyes still parallel with the table. And it just seems a little bit unnatural and awkward. But the whole shot is unnatural and awkward. So your body's fixing that awkwardness and getting the right eyesight on the cue ball and the object. So I've tried to market my videos to advanced pool players who are trying to break the plateau between really good and great. So I don't want to go over the basics because you guys are supposed to know the basics. I don't want to go back to beginner pool players. But now that I've had time to think about it, if they've been playing all these years with bad basics, nothing I say is going to improve their pool game. No video I can make is going to improve that. And every once in a while we need to go back to the basics to keep them in check and to make sure they're right. Otherwise all this has been a waste of time. See, I don't want to waste players' time that already know all this crap. I don't want to be known as the guy, you know, who just markets to beginner players because that's where all the money is. There's more beginner players than advanced players, way more. So people say, well, why limit your market? Why don't you just make videos for the beginner players? And it's because I'm not just doing this for money. If I was just doing this for money and greed and yeah, I would do that. But it was also bore the shit out of me, you know? Not just the advanced players, it would bore me. And I just don't have any enthusiasm about catering to the big market when I'm not going to be proud of the videos I'm creating. It's just not my market. But I'm still going to do it every now and then just so you guys can go back and double check.
Hey, where's the music?
There ain't no music.
Tune in tomorrow to learn how to make a bridge.
No, there ain't gonna happen.